everybody, and welcome back to the Oil and Gas Rundown. I'm Rachel Griffith, the Senior Vice President here at King Operating. We want to welcome everybody that's joining us today or on the replay. We're based out of beautiful Dallas, Texas. You can see the sun shining behind me. And yeah, today we are going to talk about some of the things that are going on around the world. I know our founder and CEO, Jay Young, is going to be hopping on here at some point. He's got a couple things that he's doing. So we'll talk a little bit about what's going on in the world with oil prices. But I also have on with me today some of our great operations team. We've got Mark Ayers, who is our EVP of Geology. Mark, welcome to the show again.
Thank you.
And we've got Aaron Ledyard, who is our land manager, or the great, as it's known, the great land man. Welcome, Aaron.
Thank you, Rachel. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Well, everybody, thank you for tuning in. And I want to just mention, if you would like more information about King Operating, some of the opportunities that we offer to accredited investors with direct drilling programs, please make sure to check out kingoperating.com and you can get in touch with us there. So today we are going to be talking a little bit, Aaron, I want to start with you. And I know, because you're not too far from me over there, wherever I'm pointing, that you've been working really hard lately. You
Sure.
have been really acquiring a lot of leased acreage, especially up in Ochiltree County. And, you know, as you're amping up and adding a lot of acreage, I want you to just kind of walk us through a little bit of that process. And I'd also love to know, you know, some of the differences that maybe you experience when you're working, say, you know, in another area versus what you've kind of experienced with Ochiltree County.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you definitely, depending on the area you're in, you come across a completely different set of challenges. I feel like we've had quite a bit of success in Ochiltree County, Texas. That's a county that's up in the northern panhandle, right on the Oklahoma border. It's gone really well, and I feel like there's a lot of different things we can attribute that to. I know that, you know, for one thing, the timing of being able to lease this acreage when we first started it back in early February, pricing was, I think, right at the first pretty low, but very shortly after that, we had all this action in the Middle East, and you know, that those geopolitical events all of a sudden drove the prices up. And so while we're reaching out to these people, all of a sudden prices are up, and so that makes it a little bit easier. I mean, everybody wants to get in on, you know, having a piece of an asset that is to be able to take advantage of those high prices. I mean, we all know that makes a big difference. So that worked to our benefit. You know, we're reaching out to people. Hey, King's out here drilling wells, and that's really exciting. So I feel like that aspect of it, coupled with this area. Kind of been somewhat slow in development, probably for the last 10 years. I mean, there's been some of the major players up there, Mewburn and others, that have been drilling wells, but for the most part, the smaller operators have been on the sidelines, probably since around 2014. So here we come along, you know, it's 10 years later, and King's in here drilling, so they're real excited about leasing. Now, that part of it, the negotiations, you know, that can help us there, but it still goes back to Mark and Phil, our geologist, kind of pointing us in the right direction. And so then, you know, I'm just looking at a map, and I don't know who I'm about to talk to. We have to do the land work. You know, sometimes it can take a couple weeks. It might take up a month to determine who owns the rights to lease in a certain section. So that's a certain set of challenges. Like I said, it could be a couple weeks, it could be a month, and in some extreme cases, it might take up to 6 months just to get an oil and gas lease. But we've been really fortunate. We've been working well with, it seems like where I consider this really lucky in today's age, where we've quite a few tracts where the surface owner also owns the minerals. And that really makes it much easier to deal with. And not a lot of mineral owners in a section. You know, if you're in the Permian, you might be dealing with 20 to 100 mineral owners in a section. And we encountered in some of these areas where it's just maybe 2 or 3 mineral owners. So that's allowed us to get those oil and gas leases sealed up, and allowed Kelly and his team to move in and start developing the acreage so that we could drill a well. And so far in that area, it's gone really well. But it doesn't always work that way. I can think that we've been real fortunate so far this year. That could change depending on where Mark and his team tells me where to go. We might go to an area, and next thing we know, nobody wants to lease to us. But so far, we've been really lucky. And, it's been a good year.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I know that, through conversations that's been mentioned that, there's been a lot of success up in Ochiltree County for you personally and for the team, and things are going very, very well for us drilling wise. So a lot of success so far, and we believe we'll have great continued success. I want to loop back in. I got word, I believe Jay Young is on the show. Jay Young?
Hey. Hey now.
There he is.
Hey now. Hey now.
Hey Jay, I told everybody, I was like, he's gonna pop back on here in a minute. So welcome to the show, Jay.
Thank you very much. And I tell you, it reminds me when Aaron talks about what's going on with him and in his department. It just really, fascinates me on how well oiled our machine is here and how we generate a prospect. And it's a hard game. I mean, it's not easy, and that's what I wanted to kind of go over that real quick, because when Aaron's going out to look for leases and doing the real landman, Billy Bob Thornton never really negotiated a lease, except I think he was with the cartel, and he negotiated that deal pretty well, I guess, where he didn't get himself killed. But other than that, I mean, he didn't really go out to the landman or out to the landowners. People that own the surface may not own the minerals, or vice versa. But Billy Bob's son did that. But first, let's talk about, if you don't mind, Rachel, I think this is extremely important, because this is not easy, and you have to find a prospect. How is a prospect generated? And that is, Mark Ayers, world-renowned geologist extraordinaire, who's really excited about the Bivens project, along with the Mid-Con, but Mark generates that prospect. He's the first one that looks at it and says, "Hey, yeah, I like this. I think it's worth mentioning, or worth having a conversation about. I feel like this is a great area." And we talked about it this morning in our meeting, about, hey, where are we looking at? What's going on, and where's the good parts and the bad parts, and let's go where wells, maybe have some more oil than gas right now, because oil prices are high. We're not scared of gas. We feel like gas demand is going to do very well in the future. But Mark, looks at prospects and says, yes, I like this prospect. And now he's the optimist, or he's the person that first, raises his hand and says, hey, here's a good area. And then our engineers, we have like 5 or 6 engineers, but they'll look at it and go, okay, well, Mark, why do you like this? Well, because I think we're going to hit. The odds are 90% we're going to hit. We don't take wells right now that are big exploratory, and we've turned down plenty of prospects that we thought were exploratory in this fund. But we, feel very confident. And Mark says, yes, this looks like a good prospect. And I'm going to let Mark talk about that for a second. Mark, what is it when you first look at these prospects? What do you like about them, or what kind of gets you excited to go to the next step? Because the next step is, taking it to the engineer, and the engineer will look at the numbers and say, well, maybe not. But what kind of gets you going in the very, very beginning?
Well, I think, Jay, it's understanding the relationship between what is producing, the physical properties of what's producing, and being able to see the extent of it over an area and get a confidence that you'll be able to produce oil and gas from those rocks based on that physical characteristic. And you can define the physical characteristic with seismic if you're fortunate enough to have 3D seismic like we are in Bivens Ranch. But you can also do the same thing with well log data, which we rely heavily on in our Mid-Con play. We've got a lot of vertical wells that show us where the oil is located. And then we try to create maps where we hook the physical properties that produce together on a map, and find out where it's the best developed, and then guys like Aaron go out and see if they can get us the rights to drill on it. And that really is the biggest challenge. You can come up with lots of ideas all day long. I mean, we all know we'd love to be in the Permian Basin all day long right now based on the offset wells and some of the characteristics we've seen. But the cost of entry is just so high that it defeats your economics. And so people like Aaron can go out and really make a difference by bringing in these land opportunities reasonably priced.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
I don't know if that's what you're.
Well, yeah, I was just thinking about this from a standpoint of, this is a 640 acre plot, let's say, 1 mile by 1 mile squared, and there's 640 acres in here, and there's been 4 wells developed. I'm not trying to simplify your job, Mark, but I'm just saying that you would look at this area and say, okay, hey, there's 4 vertical wells that have been drilled in this area. I'm kind of going back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4 wells on the 640 acres, 160 acres each. 4 wells, and let's say they produce 100,000 barrels or 25,000 barrels each. And then what you'll do is look at this and say, wow, okay, this looks like a good area. We like the rock, we like the thickness of the rock and the formation, and we do feel like that if we came right in here, right in the middle of it, and drilled a horizontal well right in the middle of all these wells that are producing, this could produce enough money to pay for it, to pay for the well and pay out and make a profit. So, you may say that there's a chance, and what Mark will say is, Mark will go to the engineers. That's the second step. First step is geology, second is engineering. Then the second step, that engineering, he says, well, yeah, I feel like that these wells, it's going to cost about $6.5 million, which is our Mid-Con well, and they're going to produce 300,000 barrels each, if not more. But so let's just say that from a standpoint of easy numbers, 6.5 million, 300,000 barrels over time. And then we put that into the calculator, or the engineers will, over, let's say if it's $70 or $50 or 30 or 100 or 200, whatever, and just see what the internal rate of return is. Because if the geology marks off, yes, I like it, and the engineers is to call their bluff. No, I'm just kidding. Kind of look at it and say, okay, yeah, I think, but I don't know if it's about going to produce 300,000. What if it only produces 200,000? And what if oil's at 50? And then they'll run their numbers. And if there's a satisfactory number of, a 30% internal rate of return or better, that's our bottom. Then we'll let it go to land, or Aaron will go out there and say, he'll put a barbecue on or whatever with all the landowners and say, hey, we're leasing land out here and we'd love for you to join us. Or he'll go to each house and knock on their door and talk to these farmers that they may have the surface rights and may own the surface, may not own the minerals. And I've been there before, man. The first well that we drilled back in 1997, I believe, is the first, 96. Yeah, first well we drilled in 96 with King Operating was a well that the surface owner was different than the mineral owner. Now, why is that a big deal? Well, the surface owner in this case had gone out and purchased that land to retire on and to sit out there and watch the wind blow or something. I don't know, but he wanted nothing on that property. And then we came in as an oil and gas operator and said, oh, yeah, hey, by the way, we just bought the minerals and we're going to come on your land and drill. And they're like, well, no, you can't. And, in the state of Texas, yes, you can. And so we went on there and drilled a well. And now we did very well with roads and maintaining roads and doing whatever we could. We came in on the back side of the property instead of coming right through the front gate, of his house, and with the rig and also after you drill a well, and complete a well, you have production crews. You have a pumper that may go by that well every day. Well, we made sure that we didn't make this. We made it okay for him. But anyway, that's just one deal. I'm sure Aaron's got 1,000 stories just like that talks about, how the land works, because you want to have the opportunity and I mean, the ranchers out on the Bivens Ranch, which I'm really pumped up about the Bivens Ranch in the future. I'm pumped about both areas that we're drilling right now, but the Bivens, especially when we get that gas hooked up and we get these things back on, I'm really excited about what these could be million barrel wells. And, every time we drill a well, it's 1 million barrels. And man, at $10 million, $12 million, that works all day long. I'm really excited about it. But that's geology, and then the engineering side, and then Aaron goes down to the to lease up the land like Billy Bob. I can't think of what Billy Bob Thornton's son's name in the show. Tommy? No, that's Billy Bob Thornton. Oh man, I'm sorry, I cannot think of it right now.
What is it? Oh my gosh,
he did.
I can't believe I'm forgetting.
Yeah, I know his name
Check
is like.
real quick, Jay.
What?
Check on your phone, and then Aaron. I mean, while you're checking, Jay, I'll ask. It is interesting to me. It seems like, the ranchers and the people you've been working with in Ochiltree County have just been really warm, supportive, receptive. Is that kind of a regional thing that you're seeing? Is it a cultural thing? Is it just they love you? Aaron is like, you're just. I think it's that. I think they love you, Aaron.
I wish it was that, but I think that like I said, I feel like we've been very fortunate. It's a numbers game. You get out there and you're going to deal with a certain amount of people that really, you treat them with respect. They'll treat you with respect. And then you do run across some owners that no matter what kind of great deal you're bringing them, no matter what extra activities you'll do, kind of like what Jay was talking about, building the road from the back of their property so they don't see the pumper. I mean, you can do so much for some of these owners, and that won't suffice. They're just not happy to see you, but you know what? We make it work. I mean, really, one thing about landman, I feel like to be a good landman, you have to be a fixer, because we are always running into problems and circumstances that most people probably want to run from.
Yeah.
But we don't have time for that. We have to embrace it and make the deal work. So we've been real fortunate out there. So far, we haven't ran into one owner up there who has been difficult. So, but I'm getting prepared. It'll happen.
Yeah.
But so far, it's been great leasing up there, and maybe it's regional. But I feel like no matter where you go, you're going to run into some people that are just really excited to have you there, and then some people it's just they don't want to have oil and gas. They don't want to see the rigs out their back porch. It's really, you just never know, and hopefully we'll just keep riding this wave and this good luck we're having up there in Ochiltree.
Absolutely.
Things are going our way, Jay.
Absolutely. And I tell you, these guys are being pushed because we have a rig running, and we want that rig to continue drilling, and we want to pick up a second rig, and that pushes Aaron to have locations ready, because you not only have to have, the lease in the bag, but you got to get a permit, you got to build location. That rig's coming, and Aaron knows it, and he's like, man, okay, I gotta put some leases together so I can have that rig continue to run. So that's exactly right. And our goal will be at the end of the year is to take some of these J units. We're going to call them J units because they're units of where you can drill at least 3 wells on the acreage. So Aaron's getting the acreage to drill 3 wells, and we're drilling one right in the middle and leaving 2 offsetting locations that we may not drill, or we'll put that up for sale. And so that increases the value substantially. And so by the end of this year, we look to have, I think we've talked about like 6. If we can have like 6 J units for sale by the end of this year, then that will give some liquidity back to clients, because they want their money back. We want them to have their money back because I know they're going to be very happy with that. And we want them to be happy, because if they're happy with us, they'll give us more money. We can go drill more wells. That's how this thing works, obviously. So, but that's something that's something he's doing. But Cooper is the guy that.
That's Cooper.
Yeah,
yes.
That's Tommy's son and Landman, and Cooper Norris at the end of season 1. He does go out and starts talking to a farmer, an absolute farmer that has a lot of property. And he says, yeah, I'm here to lease your land. And the guy says, well, there's no oil. And he says, let me find that out. And he said, I think there is. Let me find that out. And and he signs a lease. But that's what a true landman does. Not that we're going to say anything bad about Taylor Sheridan and his show, because we're excited when season 3 comes on in a couple of months. We'll be very excited about that. So I think that's I think everybody understands about the way a prospect works. I mean, it's like geology, engineering, and land, and what's going on, and that portion of, Mark's job is very important to bring prospects to us, but also to let us know. He brought us a prospect in the Sprayberry horizontal outside, I think in Borden County, and it was a great looking prospect. I was excited. I was getting ready to pull the trigger on getting a rig, and he said, it's about a 50-50 shot on having X number of barrels. I can't remember, 100,000, 200,000 barrels. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. That's not. Yeah, we don't want to take that much chance. We took a lot of that chance in Fund 1 and Fund 2, and we don't want that much. We don't want that much chances, or we want to take less risk and take some of the risk out of it. So let's go drill something easier. And then the Bivens Ranch came in, and we're really excited about Bivens Ranch, and not only just the wells that we already have online, but there's 60,000 acres out there. I mean, how many locations do we have out there, Mark? I mean, there's.
Oh, I don't know, Jay. We've come up with over 300.
Yeah.
It really depends on the density, but yes, there's plenty.
That's my lifetime, and my kids' lifetime, and everybody else's lifetime. If we want to, or we could put it together, which we're going to do, and put it together, put it up, sell some of them, but keep operating out there and just continue drilling out there for a long period of time. The Bivens family is a great family. They're great to work with. We have a meeting with them next week. I don't think I'm going to be able to go, but I'm already going to be in San Francisco. But it's just a great family and a great place to drill and operate, and we're real fortunate on that. But also we love the Mid-Con where Aaron's spending the majority of his time right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark, just a quick question. I mean, when we talk about the differences in, Bivens versus Mid-Con, what are some of the main differences as far as where we're drilling from a geological standpoint?
Well, the Bivens is a classic, what we call a resource play, or you'd call shale play. We're actually drilling in rock package that has the hydrocarbon source where it was generated, and that hydrocarbon was expelled into some carbonate or some limestones. We're drilling those limestones and creating fracture networks that drain the oil from where it was actually generated. That's your typical shale play, the Barnett, the Bakken. I mean, there's a list of them. And that's probably the biggest revolution in my career, is people recognizing that those source rocks could actually be reservoir rocks too. What's the difference between a source rock and a reservoir rock? Well, a reservoir rock, typically in the earlier days, you had to have good porosity and good permeability. And we would drill some of those 4 wells that Jay showed on his little diagram there. We would drill those 4 wells, and we would run logs, and we'd look and say, yeah, that had good porosity. It looks like it's going to have hydrocarbon in it based on the resistivity. Let's go ahead and perforate those zones and produce them. And they produced, but not to the rate that we hope to produce in the horizontal. The horizontal, we're staying in that same zone that may only be 20 feet thick, but we're expanding the contact with the zone is to over 7,000 feet in the Mid-Con area. And that makes it so much more productive, because the contact of the well bore to the permeable zone when you frack it just gives you a lot more production. And so that's another big change. We've recognized now that you can drill horizontal wells for 2 things. You can drill them for these resource plays where they frankly wouldn't work very good if you tried to drill a vertical well. Sometimes they produce, but they really just don't produce much. And so in those cases, those resource plays, we actually have to drill horizontal wells to make commercial wells. And unfortunately, on Bivens, we've had some other people drilling out there that we can build our story together, and we don't have to have much risk to do that. In the Mid-Con, that's a different challenge there. Those are rocks that we can actually see porosity and permeability in the vertical well, and they produce different quantities of oil depending on the amount of porosity and the permeability would control the rate at which it produces. But if we can go in there with a horizontal well, that's a great lever. It really allows us to contact a lot of that rock and make what was an okay vertical well an outstanding horizontal well. But they're for totally different reasons. One is just to contact more reservoir rock. The other is to contact the source rock. It doesn't have very good reservoir. Does that make sense to you, Rachel?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that, Mark. No, I think it's wonderful. It's very interesting, just the different areas that we drill in, different techniques, what you see, the way that the engineers put everything together. It's really very, very fascinating. And as Jay mentioned, we are really happy with the way that this is going. We plan to have a sale at the end of the year. And again, I want to remind everybody, if you're watching the replay, definitely go to kingoperating.com and learn a little bit more, from the website, but reach out to us. We would be very happy to share with you how we add value to our partners, our investors, through our unique model in oil and gas. Jay, you got your book there. I got my book here.
Yeah, Upside of Oil and Gas Investing. Get your copy today. Get the copy today. Yeah.
There we go. Yes, and Jay, tell us. I think we are having a second edition coming out.
Rewriting some of it, and let me say this too. One quick thing about what Mark was talking about. In Mid-Con, it may cost us $6.5 million to drill and complete a well. We get 300,000 barrels. In the Bivens, we may spend $12 million and get 1 million barrels of oil. So to put those numbers together, and it's like there's a different formula, and there's a different. It costs you more to drill the wells. It's deeper, longer laterals. In the Bivens, where it's shorter and not as expensive, so the numbers are different, and it gives you a different internal rate of return, which is what clients want. That's what the people that buy our percentages want. They want that cash flow, and they want to know what the cash flow is, what's the next 2 locations look like, which gives us an incredible opportunity, which I'm really thankful for there. But yes, the book is the second edition of the book, The Upside of Oil and Gas Investing. We're adding in the J unit, the 2026 J unit cell. We're going to have a 2026 J unit cell, and how many wells is going to be in that? We don't know yet. I think about 6. I think 3 Bivens and 3 Mid-Con wells will be in that this year, and which will be great. Maybe more if we can frack some more wells. We want to at least frack the wells by October 1st or so, and we were looking at our frack schedule today on the Prescott, the Haley. Every 2 weeks, we'll frack a well every 2 weeks beginning mid-July, and we'll have the Prescott, Haley, Odell, maybe that 1041, the 1041 in Bivens, maybe the Thurman. Is that Thurman? Was that the one we're going to drill? Are we substituting that Thurman? The Thurman is the 4th well.
We're going to drill the Thurman on the 4th well.
There may be a 5th well that we need to replace or come back to, but anyway, other than that, we should have at least those wells. So we'll have at least 6, maybe 7 wells this year. That chapter is in the book, and also there's a 1031 chapter in the book. It's great that we can talk about value add propositions and have oil and gas as a 1031 substitute product. So if people are looking for 1031s, they can invest in hard real estate assets. But if they have they need to diversify their portfolio and feel like real estate is overpriced, which a lot of people do right now, then they could also go into 1031s into oil and gas, which will be phenomenal. I'm really excited about that, and we'll have a $20 million offering coming out soon. Soon.
And if you're interested in that and you want to learn more about the 1031 exchange that is in the works, you'll also find a link to that on the front of our website. So you can always go to kingoperating.com and you will see that link there to learn more about the 1031 exchange option that is coming up. And you can also find Jay's book on there. You can find it on Amazon. You can reach out to us, get in contact, learn a little bit more about what we do here at King Operating. And so I want to thank everybody for being with me today. And I want to say a very happy 4th of July weekend to everybody watching. Wow, 250-year anniversary for the United States of America. And everybody have a wonderful and safe holiday. Gentlemen, all of you have a wonderful, safe 4th of July.
Thanks, Rachel. Great job.
Thank you,
Great
Rachel.
job. Appreciate you being here. Thanks. Good job, Aaron.
Absolutely,
Mark.
everybody. Thank you. We will see you back here at the Oil and Gas Live Rundown next Wednesday. Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody. Thank you.
Bye.